Hello, this is going to be my thoughts on the September 2021 Nintendo Direct and the final Mr.Sakurai Presents with TylerP126. I recently realized that I did not make a very well written intro for my previous discussion, so that might have confused some of you. Allow me to give a better explanation as to what these videos are. These discussion videos are me just simply giving my thoughts and opinions on recent gaming events and news. These videos are not really scripted like the ones I was talking about in my update video. These discussion videos most likely won't have any memes or jokes in them as my usual videos do. These discussions can be listened to like a podcast. You won't really see anything on screen besides trailers for the things I'm going to be talking about, so you can just listen to the video without watching. I understand if this kind of video isn't something you are interested in, but if that's the case then don't worry. I don't think I'll make these often. Before I begin, I recommend that anybody who is a fan of the channel to at least watch the outro of this video. I'm going to talk about some stuff that I think you might want to hear, so either skip to it or just watch the full video. Thank you and enjoy the video. Alright, so Mario Party Superstars.
I think, it's great that they're bringing the old maps back to the game. I think it makes it interesting. And giving a reason to buy the game, Nowadays, you can't really go to the store and get, like, an N64 version of it. So I think it's pretty cool that they're making a game with all the old maps in it. And especially that they're including online play. And I think it could be pretty big if they do it right.
Yeah, I agree. Personally, I'm not really a big Mario Party guy. I've never really played that many of them, and whenever I have, I wasn't really a big fan. But it is cool that this one is very clearly
aimed at nostalgia.
Yeah, it's aimed at the people who like the original ones that are like known as the better ones,
Yeah, I get that.
The one thing about this that's kind of weird to me is how it only has 5 boards. When back in the N64, I'm pretty sure those had more than 5 boards.
Yeah.
It's just weird to me that on the N64 they could fit a bunch of boards, but on the Nintendo Switch they're only putting 5. And this game probably costs more than those games did back then.
And I mean, there always is a possibility of free updates to the game.
Yeah,
kind of like how they're doing with Mario Golf, which we'll get to later. But I think they definitely could do this right, and they have to do something because $90, $90 is a lot of money.
Yeah,
especially for Mario Party, and I think
especially for only 5 boards.
Right, and I think if they can add boards and add free updates with more modes and stuff, I think they could definitely get this right. But they just have to do it in a way that doesn't kind of just leave the game untouched. So.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, if they added a lot of more stuff to it, I would probably like it more. I would probably get it. But right now, how the game is, I have basically no interest in it.
Yeah, me too. I think, and the Mario Party right now is, I'd say it's decent. We haven't had maybe this is just me, but in my opinion, I didn't think the Wii U version was that great.
Oh no,
I thought the Wii version was a lot better, but I think with this, they can make a huge comeback, and they can easily get a good game out of it.
Yeah, if they did what you said and add like new free updates with new boards and modes and characters and stuff, that would make this a much better game. But as it is right now,
I agree.
I don't really care about it. So Kirby and the Forgotten Land is probably going to be the greatest Kirby game of all time.
I could agree. I think, it's really cool that they're adding their own thing by doing an open world type in a way instead of like a 2D. And I think they could do some optimization work, in my opinion, from what I saw in the trailer. A lot of the textures looked a little bad in my opinion, especially since there's a lot like better looking games like Breath of the Wild, and I think, and especially the FPS drops. I saw like a few, but it is looking interesting, and I think it can be a very good Kirby game.
Yeah, I agree. And with the textures and stuff, like you were saying, when they first announced Luigi's Mansion 3, it had those same issues where like the textures and the graphics didn't look that good. But then when the game came out, it looked really good.
Yeah,
So it
and
could be
Luigi
because they're
Mansion.
just early in development when they were making the trailer, but then when it comes out, it can still look very good.
Yeah, but there's always that chance of it being like Pokemon Sword and Shield, right?
Yeah,
So
but even as it is now, I personally I think it still looks decent. I think it looks good enough. But obviously, if it looked better, that would be nice.
yeah, I agree. And I think maybe they can do some. If they have the space, maybe I think they could. It'd be interesting if they had some DLC to the game too.
I doubt it'll happen, but yeah, like some new expansions and stuff would be nice.
I am a little worried about the amount of like. Is it going to be really open world, or is it going to be like levels where you do a section, right, and then you're back and you gotta pick another level? I'm hoping it's like actually open world, like Mario Odyssey,
I
if that
was
makes sense.
I was gonna say it's probably going to be more like Mario Odyssey, where you go to
Which
an
is
area and then you do stuff there, and then you go to the next area and then you do stuff.
yeah,
In my,
and
it's
that'd be fine
probably
with
what.
me.
Yeah, I agree.
But I just hope it isn't like, you know, like a store section isn't an entire level,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's more to it than that.
Even that could be kind of fun, but yeah, I hope it's more like a Mario Odyssey kind of thing. That's what
Yeah,
from the trailer, that's what it kind of feels like to me.
yeah, and I'm hoping for that as well.
This is probably the most excited I've ever been for a Kirby game. I've only ever played like a couple of them. They were good, but they weren't like amazing, and I've never been super excited for Kirby, but this one looks like it could be an actual really good game.
Yeah, I agree. I've never been like a huge Kirby guy,
Right.
but depending on how they do this, I might actually play it.
Right. Animal Crossing update and direct. They said the
You know,
direct was gonna be on October 15th, I think, somewhere around there. And honestly, Animal Crossing New Horizons has been lacking content from the day it launched, and they've added updates that included new things, which is nice, but they've been very minor updates, and I've barely played this game since like launch, basically. Like, I played a lot the first month it came out, and since then I've only played here and there.
yeah, I think I was literally just looking up Twitter right now, and the event is only 20 minutes long, which
Yeah,
what I was gonna say before I switch it up is that I'm hoping that it's more than just a one area spot, and then that'd be like the entire direct. I'm hoping it's more than that. I'm hoping they show like some new things that you can do. So maybe some buildings, or maybe some new people or new places to go or visit. And seeing it being 20 minutes, I'm hoping it's maybe they can still do. I mean, I could be wrong, right? Like it's 20
right.
minutes. They might be able to do it fast, but I don't see it being more than just one spot. And with the teaser at the beginning of the trailer, you could see it was just them going into the museum and then heading into a specific spot. And if that's all, then I gotta say that'd be pretty boring for a direct. So I hope it's more. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope it's more than that. But it's not looking so good in my opinion, and it probably won't get me playing the game again.
Right. the fact that they're actually making this a direct is kind of giving me hope, because for any time they've ever released updates for this game, they would just put out a random tweet that's just like a 2-minute video or something showing off what's new.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're making a whole direct for it, it means that whatever this update is, there's probably going to be a bigger deal than the updates we've seen so far. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, if this is something small and if there isn't going to be much, why make a whole direct on it? The fact that it's a
Yeah, I
direct
agree.
gives me hope, but at the same time, from what we've seen in this little teaser, it already isn't looking good, in my opinion. Like, the fact that to get to the coffee shop, you have to go into the museum, out of all places, is weird to me. And kind of annoying. Because I don't know how it was in previous games, because the only other Animal Crossing game besides New Horizons that I've played is New Leaf, which was the one on the 3DS. And in Animal Crossing New Leaf, the coffee shop was its own building. So it's weird that they're not just making it its own building, and that out of all the places they could put it, they're putting it in the museum.
Yeah, I agree.
The coffee shop alone is kind of useless. I don't know why so many people want it so much, because at least from what I can remember, all you did in the coffee shop was drink coffee, which didn't really do anything for you, and you could talk to the guy who works there.
Yeah.
And so this direct is clearly going to be a lot about that, but it's just weird that they're putting it in the museum and that took this long to even add such a simple feature. Like, this is something so simple that it should have just been there the day the game came out. It's been over a year. Like, we're not that far until this game has been out for 2 years.
Yeah. So, I guess we'll find out in about a week.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do a discussion like this for that direct. It'll probably I don't think I'll really do anything for it. But if it is
I don't
really
blame you.
big, then maybe I will. I don't know. But I doubt it's gonna be really big. Mario Golf Super Rush.
I think it's cool, the fact, like I said earlier, from the Mario Party Superstars, I'm happy that they're adding updates to the game,
Right.
making sure the game doesn't die off, and with the new map, and I like how they're not just adding like a new map, they're adding new characters, and I think that's really cool, and if they can keep it up, I could definitely see it being one of the best Mario Golf games out there.
Right.
So, and all the updates have been free, which is also another great thing. Some other companies, they might just ask you to pay for it.
Oh, they
So
could
I
have
think
easily made people pay for this.
exactly, like a season pass or something. So the fact that they're free is just great. So good stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, I've never played a Mario Golf game ever. I don't even own this one, so I can't really say if this game is good or not or whatever. Which also means I'm not really interested in this, but it is a good sign that Nintendo is willing to just add decently sized updates for free like this in their games.
Right.
It's nice that they're doing it, but I don't like, because some Nintendo Switch games have had this trend where they come out, they don't have that much to do, and then they add stuff for free later on.
Right.
And I don't really like that, because when you get the game, you don't play it much because there's not much to do, and then when they release the free updates, you're not as interested in the game anymore, and whenever they do add
Right.
updates, they're usually nothing crazy.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm just happy that they're updating the game and they're not making you pay for it.
Yeah, that is nice. So like I said, they could have easily made people pay for this, and people would have bought it.
Yeah.
But it's nice that it's a free thing, and it's nice that
Yeah.
they're not done here. They're still making more from what it looks like. Metroid Dread just came out the day before we're recording this. And I've never played a
Yeah,
Metroid game before, but they've always looked really cool to me. And from what I've heard, apparently this one is really good.
yeah. I've never played a Metroid game in my life, and personally, it doesn't look that interesting to me. But the trailer did catch my eye, I'll admit, and it was interesting with all the new robots, and especially how something that Johnny told me was that Dread was something they announced years ago, and I think that's really cool that they decided to bring that name back and make it a new title. And just like everything else, I think like they could definitely add DLC as like maybe side stories.
Oh, for sure they
And
could. I don't know if they will, but they could easily do something like that.
and it'd be pretty good. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm still debating if I want this one. Because I just don't know. Because I've never played a game like this, I don't know if I'm gonna like it. I kind of wish there was like a demo for it or something. But from the trailers that I've seen, and from the things I've heard about Metroid games, this game looks pretty cool to me. So they revealed that Nintendo 64 and Sega Genesis games are coming in an updated Switch Online subscription. And
Yeah,
I think that's cool. I think that's nice. But just really weird that it took them this long to do something like this.
yeah, and I think it's I just don't see why you'd spend the extra money. I mean, don't get me wrong, they have a strong lineup for N64, but I just don't see why you'd spend that extra dollars every month just to get some N64 games. And I don't condone it, but you could easily emulate those games too.
Right.
Or if you have them, then you could just play them on your own, and I just don't see why you'd waste the money to waste the extra few dollars, to buy online games for the N64.
Right. I do agree with you for the most part, but like the online for Switch is cheaper than online for PlayStation or Xbox. Even if you pay the extra to get these games, you're still paying probably less than half of the price of a year of PlayStation Online or Xbox Online.
Yeah.
Because I think,
and that's another good thing.
At least in Canadian dollars, I don't know how it is in other parts of the world, but at least for us, for a family online year, to buy that is like 30 something bucks. So extra, it would probably be like around 40. Or a year of PlayStation Online is like 70, 80, something like that. I do wish you could lower the price by removing like NES and SNES or something.
Yeah.
With Genesis, because if I were to get this, the only games I could actually see myself playing are the Nintendo 64 ones. Because whenever we did have online, I barely played the NES or the SNES games. I tried a couple and that was it.
Right. And honestly, I wish you could save money by disabling some of those games.
Right.
And I think it would be better, in my opinion, that instead of the Genesis, they should have done GameCube instead, and that would have made it way better and way more worth it, in my opinion.
Well, to be fair, the GameCube games are bigger to the point where, like, they could just remaster a single GameCube game and sell it as like an $80 game.
I guess,
GameCube games look much better. They're still old, but they're newer. They're bigger. Like, it makes a lot more sense for them to do something like this for N64 games than GameCube games, but if they did add GameCube games, that would be really cool, and that would be something I would definitely get.
Yeah.
but I just don't see them doing something like that.
Yeah, and I get that, but in my opinion, I definitely think it would have been more worth it. And that's all I gotta say, pretty much.
Yeah, and also something else about the N64 games is that you can play them online now, where obviously before you couldn't. Especially if you were to emulate them, you couldn't play online. Which still, I mean,
Yeah,
I doubt I would be playing N64 games online often, but I guess it is nice that that's there.
yeah.
Alright, the Mario movie.
Oh man! You know,
I assume you have a lot to talk about here.
yeah. Nobody knows this happened, but me and Johnny didn't record this because, he didn't really think anything crazy was gonna happen. So,
Me and Tyler watched the direct, and I didn't end up recording it because Andrew couldn't make it, and without him, I didn't think the video would be as good with just the two of us.
yeah. So, basically, I'm just sitting there, and then Johnny was like 4 seconds ahead of me. So, I'm at the time where they're like, let's announce the Mario movie cast, and I hear in the background just Johnny consistently saying, no, 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 this is the worst case scenario. And then the first thing that comes up as soon as he finishes saying that is Chris Pratt as Mario, and I just started dying of laughter. And then it was even worse when I saw Jack Black as Bowser.
I just can't believe that the creator of Mario himself would agree to this. Like,
Yeah,
my expectations for an animated Mario movie made by the same people who made Despicable Me and the Minions were low. I had very low expectations. But now I know for sure that this isn't going to be good.
yeah,
At least,
and
even if this wasn't the cast, even if it wasn't made by Illumination, this probably isn't something I'd be interested in anyway. It's probably not something I would really want to watch. So whether or not it's good or bad, it doesn't really matter to me. But it just sucks that, like, Nintendo is finally making some kind of big movie, and they're already making bad decisions.
yeah. Like, when I saw Chris Pratt as Mario, I just knew it was gonna be downhill.
Oh, it was really funny to see, but, like, it's just, like, I don't even need to see a trailer to know that this movie isn't going to be good.
I really want to see the trailer. I really
Trailer's
do.
gonna be hilarious now that we know the voice cast.
Yeah, but, it's definitely a top 10 in the direct, Really
Yeah.
looking forward.
I just can't imagine these actors' voices coming out of these characters' mouths. It's weird to me that, like, the creator of Mario himself would see this and agree to this. I'm shocked.
Yeah, it's
And
even worse that the voice actor of Mario's in
yeah,
the movie.
I was about to say, it's worse that the voice actor of Mario is in the movie playing characters that they haven't said yet, and not the actual characters he plays in the Mario games.
Yeah, I don't know.
You'd
But I
think
do
after
find...
all these years of him voicing the character, they'd at least let him be in the movie as, like, Mario. At least Mario. Even though he does the voice for Luigi and Wario and Waluigi. So Splatoon 3 seems pretty interesting.
Yeah, I originally was... when the original Splatoon 3 was announced, I was telling my friends, I was like, I don't know if I'm that excited because it looks like it's gonna be the same thing, just with new maps. And I was, you know what? I'm still disappointed. I was like, why didn't they do something new? And then I saw what are they called? I guess, like, abilities, if that makes sense, or like their vehicles or whatever. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know you.
Yeah. And I thought that was cool. And then the trailer here was a story trailer, which I finished the second game, the story mode, and I think I think it's looking good. It's got that open world aesthetic that I really liked, and I'm hoping Kirby has a similar thing.
Right.
Because if they can do it in Splatoon, I'm sure they can do it in Kirby. And it's I'm definitely excited for it, and I think it's cool. So, and I'm especially happy that there's more differences than just it being a copy of the first and second game.
Right. I'm not as big as a Splatoon fan as you are, so when they announced a new Splatoon game, I was just like, oh, okay, cool. Splatoon 2, I didn't really play that much of it. I haven't even finished the story mode yet. But besides the story mode in Splatoon 2, that game kind of felt like a remaster of Splatoon 1.
Yeah.
Obviously, there were differences, but a lot of it felt the same. And it's still a fun game. It's not a bad game, but like one of the reasons why I wasn't as interested in it as I was because of how like similar it felt like to Splatoon 1. But this game does look like they're actually going to be a very different game. Especially the story mode. That looks very promising and very cool. And honestly, after seeing this trailer, I've kind of been thinking about going back to Splatoon and maybe playing through finishing that story mode. Before we move on to the Mr. Sakurai Presents, was there anything else from the Direct or any overall thoughts you had about it?
I think, I'm gonna be honest, I think this Direct was better than the one they showed at E3. E3's was it didn't have the same kind of feel. This had more announcements in a way, if that makes sense, that were more interesting to talk about. And don't get me wrong, I completely understand Breath of the Wild 2 fans, but I'm just not a Breath of the Wild guy.
Right.
So I think, this definitely had more things I was interested in. And I think they should have showed this for E3. But I'm just going to assume that they weren't ready. So
probably
that's what I think, better than E3. And I'd say it was a decent Direct.
Personally, I like the E3 one more than this one, but I do agree that this Direct was a good one. It was a pretty decent Direct. Alright, so the final Mr. Sakurai Presents. So they started it off, and the first thing they revealed were the Mii costumes. Personally, I really like the fact that they showed the Mii costumes first, and that they actually put a character people really wanted as a Mii costume. It made trying to figure out who the last character was more exciting.
Yeah.
I did want Doomguy in, but I think his Mii costume looks really cool. And I don't think he would have fit well as the final character,
I think it was pretty cool. Especially, I was in class with my friend watching the Direct, and, Mr. Sakurai Presents, and, and we were both pretty hyped for Doomguy, I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was cool that, because, I'm gonna be honest, I've enjoyed Fighters Passes a bit more, depending on the character, I think they've been maybe even better than some of the Fighters Passes.
The Mii's, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Fighter Passes are better than the Mii's. It's the opposite of what I just said, sorry.
Some of the Mii's are better than the characters that they chose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I agree.
And
I do think that some of the Mii's were better than some characters, but for the most part, they did a good job choosing. But anyway, sorry, I interrupted you. What were you gonna say?
There was a lot of cool ones, like Sans and now Doomguy. So I kind of wish they had more Mii fighters. Only 3 of them was kind of disappointing.
Yeah, that is weird that the last one only has 3.
And 2 of them were Splatoon related.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was kind of disappointing.
Yeah, I think Doomguy Mii's costume looks pretty cool. I'm definitely gonna get it. But I do agree that I am kind of disappointed that the last set of Mii costumes was only 3, and out of those 3, 2, at least in my opinion, out of these 3, 2 of them were pretty boring, which were obviously
Yeah.
the Splatoon ones. And they're not even full costumes or anything, they're just hats. It's just one to put on the Mii's head. It doesn't come with anything else.
Yeah.
I do also wish that the Doom one came with a song, but that's not really a big deal. Alright, so after the Mii costumes, of course, they revealed the trailer for the final DLC for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which is Sora from Kingdom Hearts. I'm a
Personally,
pretty big... Okay, sorry, I'll let you go first.
personally, I think I'm disappointed. You know, I understand Kingdom Hearts is big. Don't get me wrong. I know there are a lot of people that were hyped for Sora, and you know what? I don't blame him because I know there'd be many people like me who were disappointed if, you know, I got a character I wanted.
Right.
But, you know, I just don't think it's right that they ended it with another sword fight. Like, I don't know. Like, I was just kind of hoping for someone different. That's all. I literally told everyone days before the direct. I'm like, I don't care who it is. I just don't want it to be a sword fighter. And it was another sword fighter, and I'm disappointed. You know, I just wish it was someone unique. And who wasn't a sword fighter in this damn pass?
Kazuya.
Yeah, like, and you know they were different.
Yeah.
And I was kind of hoping for a final character. They do something, you know,
Minimal.
at least makes And if it was gonna be Sora, I was hoping they'd at least be like interesting. You know, not just another sword fighter. I also think his ultimate is boring.
His final smash.
And yeah, so that's just my thoughts. You know, disappointed. Final smash, very boring in my opinion.
Yeah, I do get what you mean, and I don't blame you for feeling that way, but I believe that Sora is probably the perfect character they could have ended this on. The only other character who I believe could have made a good final character was Master Chief.
Yeah.
But Sora being the closest to a non-video game character we'll ever get, Sora is... They even said that Sora was the #1 most requested character of all time.
But
So it was pretty cool to see that, like, they ended it off on a character who almost breaks the rules and is a character who people thought was impossible and who ended up being the #1 most wanted character. I also really liked the trailer. I think it was
I thought the trailer was really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was a good final trailer. And the whole Mr. Sakurai Presents thing in general was pretty good. Usually, they're usually pretty good, but this one in particular, they didn't spend a lot of time on one thing. Like, the Terry presentation, the Terry Mr. Sakurai Presents, they spent like 20 minutes just talking about the history of those games. So, I mean, it wasn't a bad presentation, but they spent a really long time on one thing. And I don't remember which one it was, but there was another Mr. Sakurai Presents where they spent a lot of time just playing matches, and there was another one where they played like the entire classic mode for that character.
I think that was Steve.
Yeah, it was something like that. And for this one, they didn't spend long talking about the history. They didn't spend a super long time showing the moves. They didn't spend a super long time playing the character. They didn't spend a super long time talking about the character or the Mii's or whatever. Everything felt like it had a good amount of time. And I do like how at the end they showed like the stats of the game.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought that was cool.
Overall, the DLC for Ultimate was decent. There are some characters I feel like if they were switched for other ones, it could have made it a lot better, but most characters I think were good choices. But like you said, you kind of disagree, and you were pretty disappointed.
Yeah.
Which makes sense and is fair. Thank you for listening to our thoughts and opinions on the September 2021 Nintendo Direct and the final Mr. Sakurai Presents. Like I said in my previous discussion, I'll probably make one of these for the Game Awards, but besides that, I'm not sure what else I'll make one for, if I even make any more this year. Before I go, in October, which is the month that this video is being uploaded, you will get around the same amount of videos as I made in September. However, in November, I don't think I'll be uploading much. In November, I'll be busy working on bigger videos like the final episode of the Pyramid Scheme and some other stuff coming in December. So unfortunately, I won't be able to upload much during November. In December, you should see around the same amount of videos I uploaded last month. In November, I will be releasing a big channel update where I will be talking about the future of the channel, the kinds of videos I'll be releasing, how often I'll be making videos, and some stuff about streaming and other social media accounts. So please stay tuned for that.